welcome. It's Andrew Fazekas, the Night Sky Guy. Welcome to my show, the Night Sky Guy show, where I'm here every week sharing what you can see in the heavens above where you are. Here we are, August 31st, turning the corner into the new month of September. How was your last few months? We're almost nearing the last little bit of the season. Of course, heading to the end of winter for those of you in the southern hemisphere, heading towards the end of summer in the northern hemisphere. I'd love to hear where you're watching from. Put it into the chat there, right here. I'm seeing all kinds of people from Kansas, Texas, St. Louis, California, Sweden, Maryland, USA, all over the world, everywhere around the world. Welcome. I'm hoping you had some clear skies this weekend. Did you do any stargazing this weekend? I was kind of clouded out here in Montreal, Canada. I think we had a remnants of Hurricane Laura that swept up through North America, through the United States. Big shout out and lots of love, thinking of all of you guys down in Louisiana and Texas that were affected so much by Hurricane Laura. My thoughts are with you. I hope you are doing well and staying safe with your family and friends. So there was a lot of kind of wild weather where I was, a lot of rain, too much rain. It's crazy amounts of rain over the weekend. And then just Sunday evening, it started getting a little bit better for me here in Montreal, Canada. And today's an absolutely beautiful clear skies, blue skies, and I'm looking forward to doing some more stargazing. So I'd love to see where you guys are from and what you're seeing. And I'm watching all your chats in the chat room right here. Everything is coming through. I can see from Norway, Vladimiro from Norway. Nice of you to join Waves. All right, same to you, definitely. And Kimberly, Kimberly saying the moon hanging tight with Saturn and Jupiter was fun to watch. You did get to see it. That's wonderful, Kimberly. And I saw a lot of you guys, a lot of sharing going on. I put out a screenshot of a star chart on that. You could see that there was a difference between Friday night and Saturday night and Sunday night, how the moon sort of glided by those brilliant star-like objects, which we know are not stars, but are gas giant planets, the largest planets, planet Jupiter and Saturn, the largest planets in our solar system. And the moon is still chugging its way across the sky as it does every month. And it's heading towards a planetary encounter later this week that I'll talk about in the next few minutes. Definitely. Teresa mentions we had some clouds, but I was able to see the moon with Saturn and Jupiter and even took a couple of photos. It's wonderful. I love it when you guys share photos on my timeline. I watch for them. I love seeing the different variety of shots that you guys get to do. It's a lot of fun, and maybe in a future show I'll start sharing some of those as well. Hook that up and see what we can look at from what you're producing, all those wonderful treasures, portraits of worlds out there. So I wanted to start off, first off, very interesting. My friends at spaceweather.com put out an alert for an asteroid that I thought I'd share. This is a very interesting, a flyby that's happening. And here I'll share my screen with you. And you can see it's an asteroid flyby that's tomorrow, September 1st. The asteroid's name is very unromantic. It's 2011 ES4, and it's going to fly between the Earth and the Moon, this asteroid will. No danger for collision. Hallelujah. It will fly by at about 72,000 miles away from Earth. So that is a hefty, good margin of no chance of collision, but it is astronomically a close call. It is definitely a close call. And the size of it, the space rock is about 30 meters in diameter. So they think that's about the same size as the one that actually went through the atmosphere in 2013, in February of 2013, in a small town in Siberia that experienced actually damage from this asteroid encounter. So imagine this huge asteroid barreling through the upper atmosphere. It's going at incredible speeds, and it basically explodes in the upper atmosphere. The shock wave from that blast really caused damage on the ground around this small town. And if you click on here, you can see this is on Wikipedia. Let's see if I can get this to work. You can see what in 2013 people saw. I mean, this is from a dash cam in 2013, February 15. Look, there's a stoppage right at a stoplight, and the dash cam picks up this flight. Look up the upper left. This was what was going through. And this is a 30-meter cross asteroid that entered the atmosphere back in 2015, caught on a dash cam. Look how bright it goes. It's nighttime, and then it just gets as bright as daylight. And then you can see it disintegrates. So it basically exploded there. And that is what... I'll run it back again because I find this is incredible to see. Look at that. You can see it just kind of exploding. That's when it literally exploded right there. And then you see fragments. You see little bits and pieces. And there are a few big chunks that actually made it to the ground. So this one, thankfully, won't be doing that. That's not what's happening. This one is going to give us a wide margin. And you can see in this NASA orbital track that I have here, you can see clearly that it is much safer for us, because if I zoom in, you'll see the orbit of the asteroid is out here. You can see where my mouse is, and then the blue ellipse is Earth's orbit right there. You can see that, and you see the two seem to match right here. That's September, that's tomorrow. So, but it will miss us, but you can see that it is quite close. Like if I zoom in, you can see the Earth-Moon system and the right in front of the sun. There I'm going, it's not so easy doing that, but you can see there's the asteroid, there's the Earth and the Moon, Earth, Moon, asteroid. It's going to be quite amazing of a quick, a quick visit by this asteroid called 2011 ES4. No worries for any kind of encounter with this. We are going to be safe, so it won't hit us. But it is interesting that this is something that astronomers are keeping their eye out. So these kind of events of small asteroids, the fact is that when it comes to something the size of a house or a building, a truck, we can't usually find them too far in advance. We found a few, like this one. We've got a couple of days notice, but generally we don't know how many. We think there may be 1 million of these buzzing around the Earth, these small ones. The large ones that can cause extinction and cause mass havoc on the Earth, no worries. We've got them all labeled, most of them, especially the ones that are like global killers, like what happened with the dinosaurs 60 some odd million years ago. That kind of an asteroid that's about 6 miles across, 10 miles across, something that big, we've cataloged them. We know where they are. We know their pathway. It's really the ones that are much smaller, that are the size of a truck, a house. We don't have a very good handle. We are trying to survey them. This is why it's so important that funding occurs for these survey teams that are scattered around the world, and they have satellites in space using telescopes on the ground to look for these objects. It's very important. So I just wanted to give you guys a heads up about that. That's really, I think it's important that we are aware of what's going around the Earth, not just on the ground, but in the sky as well. And I thought, give you a heads up on that. I'll put a link to that in the comments or in my timeline so that you guys can see, check that out for yourself, and you can follow that too. But that's happening September 1st, tomorrow, 72,000 miles. It's a close call for Earth, no danger for collision, but just something that I think it's really interesting to mention. So without further ado, let's turn to the skies and let's see what is out there that we can actually see. Let's see if I can move this, get rid of this and move into the sky. There we go. That's Yeah, there we go. Let's see if that comes. No, that's not showing. Oh my gosh, why am I not showing that? Let's see if I can get that. There we go. Hallelujah. We're working. So this week, there's a lot of different things happening that I wanted to share with you guys. First off, very interesting is tonight on August 31st, Jupiter is really something really fantastic to see. This is something that you can see with binoculars or with a small telescope. Even better yet, if you have access to a small telescope. This is a very cool thing. And with binoculars, you hold your binoculars super steady to see this. So here we go. We're going to set this up for tonight. Let me go. This is daytime because right now where I am, it's day. And we're going to let the sun set and everything. The moon is out. You can see the moon is right about here. And here we have Jupiter and Saturn that look like two brilliant star-like objects. So what's very cool is if we zoom in on Jupiter, you'll immediately, what you'll notice here is a kind of a binocular, small telescope view of what's happening. And you'll see Jupiter, definitely the disk of Jupiter. And then on either side, you will notice small little dots. These are the Galilean moons, the moons discovered by Galileo, the Italian astronomer, 400 years ago. With a very newly invented telescope, he was one of the first people to point it to the sky and start looking and surveying the sky, exploring things in the heavens above with this newly invented instrument they call telescope. And so one of the first things he noticed was there were these little dots around Jupiter. And over time, over a few hours, a few days, he noticed that there were movement. They were actually orbiting. It's like a miniature solar system out there. And so what was very interesting is that these little worlds, over time, we got to really know them much better. And of course, today we have spacecrafts that have visited there. We've, of course, the Pioneer spacecrafts back in the early 1970s, then Voyager in the 1980s. And then we had Galileo as well. And now we have Juno, NASA spacecrafts that are orbiting the Jupiter system, getting us amazing photographs. But what's really cool is for you and me is what we can witness sometimes is some really dynamic activity regarding the moons. And one of the really neat things about this is, let me see if I can just center it, that sometimes these moons appear and disappear. And what's very, very cool is that in a matter of a few minutes, a moon can pop into view from being behind the planet. And so this is what's going to happen tonight. One of the moons called Io, which is one of the most volcanic moons in the entire solar system, will appear out of just out of darkness, out of the shadow of the planet. So here is the shadow of Jupiter, right? It looks just like there's nothing there. And then over a few minutes, now this is going to happen around 9:50 Eastern Standard Time. And check that out. You can see it comes out. There is Io. Look at Io popping out. There's the moon Io. You can see that coming out. So all this wonderful activity will be happening tonight. And this is something that you should really try to check this out, because this is going to be something really impressive to see the moon Io coming out from behind Jupiter. And this is the Io moon is actually being eclipsed by Jupiter, and you can watch it kind of come out playing peekaboo with Jupiter. And this is something you can see with binoculars if you hold it very steady, and a small telescope, no problem. With an eyepiece, high magnification, you can get a really good ringside seat to this eclipse of one of the moons of Jupiter. Isn't that so cool to be able to see that, the movement? And all of this comes, within just an hour or two. It's there. Suddenly the moon is not there at one point, and then it comes out. So the point really that you want to notice is the The timing is 9:53 p.m. Eastern time. You can do the conversion wherever you are in, around the world, but Eastern time, North America. That is where this event is happening. I'll put a link in the comment section below regarding this, the time to keep your eyes open. Remember, binoculars and small telescopes. So now let me move. I'm going to zoom out. Let me zoom out of this. So that's Jupiter. And remember Io, by the way, before I leave this, let me see if I can get this. Let me see, just because, oh my gosh, where did it go? Boom. This is what happens when you kind of don't have it centered. Sometimes I can get the Io centered. Let me just zoom out. I just want to show you something. Oh, come on. There we go. Maybe. There we go. So what's very, very cool is the darkness. The Io will be darker for a few minutes and then appear brighter. And it'll just like pop into view. And if you're using binoculars, it will really be evident. You could see the difference in color from this moon to that moon. That's because this is still in the shadow of the planet. So if I just move that and I remove the magnification, there you can see that is what the moon will actually look like, a pinpoint of light. So I just wanted to make that very, very clear to everybody. And with binoculars, it'll look really, really impressive. So that's tonight, August 31st. So if you're watching this archive later this week, that already passed. But something like this happens often enough. And if you guys are interested, I'll definitely give you a heads up on when there are these moon eclipses and these peekaboo events, disappearing acts with the moons of Jupiter, because that's kind of fun to be able to witness for yourself. It actually, you see the mechanics of the solar system being played out before your eyes. So if we move into the morning, I wanted to jump into the morning skies at dawn. And here we are. We're going to zoom out. And what will greet you, of course, if you're looking towards the east, okay, is a super bright star. If you're an early bird, you probably have noticed this, a super bright star. So Kimberly says, yeah, give us a heads up on the eclipses. You bet. That is great. So yes, this is very, very cool. So hello to the Los Angeles Astronomical Society. Thank you for joining us. So again, just so that you realize, I mean, you guys are all over the world. I realize that. And so you are watching from very different locations, geographical locations. And so your sky may be oriented differently from mine, especially if you're in the southern hemisphere, right? So, but the objects and how they're in the sky, how they relate to other objects are pretty much the same. The distances, the separation won't be too different, not too different. And what I want you, one of those things that I want you to look at is really interesting is Venus and how it's placed in the sky. Let me try to get earlier so it's darker and you can clearly see some of the interesting things. What you'll notice is that Venus is going to be flanked, the super bright star, by a little bit fainter stars on either side of it. And this is, again, a really great way to start learning some constellations. And this is, again, this is for those of you that are early birds who are up early, maybe walking the dog, or you have to go into work and you're standing at a bus stop or something, and you may notice it in the car as you're driving in, stuck in a traffic jam or whatever. But Venus in the early morning is really dominant in the east. Okay, so where the sun will rise is where you're actually looking for Venus. And it looks like a super bright star, the brightest star in that part of the sky. And on one side of Venus, you'll see two pretty bright stars that will be really neat to see. One is kind of yellowish orange in color, and the other one is white color. And these represent, as you can see here, the Gemini twins, the heads of the twins. They're marked by these bright stars. One's called Castor, and the other one is called Pollux. So you have Castor and Pollux that mark the heads of the Gemini twins. And that's going to be on one side of Venus. Very, very bright in the sky. And this is going to be very easy to see. And I can see Enrique is already mentioning this is within the Winter Hexagon. Yeah, that's right. And this is something that I talk a lot about in the coming months, as we head into winter in the northern hemisphere, this is a very dominant grouping of stars. And if I zoom out, I have it already marked. Enrique, I have it marked definitely with red, as you can see. If you can see that red, all these bright stars mark out what's called what we call the Winter Hexagon. They actually are all part of different constellations. Each of those bright stars represents one particular constellation. And this pattern of stars called the Winter Hexagon isn't one constellation. It's just something that the eye recognizes, the human eye sees patterns. And this pattern is very easy to see for the human eye because they're just marked out with very, very bright stars. In fact, the brightest stars in this part of the sky. And so while we're talking about it now because of Venus and how it's so close to Venus, this Winter Hexagon formation really takes a dominant form in the evening skies. Later in December, the month of January, February, and March, we'll definitely be talking a lot about the Winter Hexagon, but this is a great heads up, definitely. KL says, yes, my sign is Gemini. There you go. So now you know where Gemini is this time of the year. Remember, all of these stars that we're talking about, like Gemini constellation or Canis Minor, by the way, that's the other small constellation marked by the bright star called Procyon. So you have Castor, Pollux on one side of Venus, and then Procyon on the other. Procyon is the brightest star in the constellation Canis Minor. You can see the outline of that little dog faintly here. And so that Procyon star marks that particular constellation. Now, these constellations really dominate the winter evening sky, but this time of the year, late summer, they're in the early morning skies. So you got to be a real early bird to see them. But now you know. So if your horoscope sign is Gemini, now you know where in the sky your constellation is. It's really neat. Alexandra says that I have a bright new telescope and can't wait to catch something. Well, these are some really nice things to see with the naked eye, right? So what I'm talking about here is things that are very easy to see. You don't need a telescope or binoculars. It's just clear skies, basically. And you'll be able to see, even if you're stuck within city limits, by the way, these stars are all very easily visible. Now, what's interesting is take a look at this. I'll bring up some stats here for you. So Venus is just over 7 light minutes away. So when I'm showing you this star, as you're looking at Venus here, it takes light from Venus just over 7 minutes to reach your eye. Think about that. And the light beam is traveling at a speed of 300,000 kilometers per second. And it still takes over 7 minutes for the light to reach it. That's because Venus is about 128 million kilometers away from Earth. That's quite a distance. And that's our neighboring planet. So, but then if we look at the stars like Pollux is a whopping 33 light years away. That orange star near Venus. Just think of that. The light takes 33 years to reach our eye. So we're actually looking back in time 33 years. Next door, Castor is even farther. It's 50.9 light years away. So it takes over almost 51 years for that light to reach your eye. Isn't that incredible? 51. So those of you that were around 51 years ago, think of what you were doing 51 years ago. Maybe you were a little toddler. Maybe you were in high school. I mean, just think about where you were 51 years ago. And that's when you go out in the morning and you look at Castor. That's when the light left on its journey to reach your eye, those photons of light. Boom, it's just incredible. This is what's so exciting about that. And then we go to Procyon. Procyon is 11.4 light years away from Earth. So think about it. 11 years ago, what were you doing in the year 2010? In the year 2010 is when light left on its journey from Procyon. And that's how we see it in the morning sky. Isn't that incredible? I think it's incredible. So, and Kimberly says that it's a long time between the birth of the Gemini twins. It is. The one is 33 light years away. One is over 50 light years away. And that shows you that they're not really, they look close together in the sky, the Gemini twins, but they're physically wide apart. So, I mean, what we're talking about here, remember that you have, let me see here, Pollux, right? Pollux is 33 light years away. So that would be, let's say where you are, this would be Pollux. My fist here is Pollux. And Castor, right, is 50.9 light years away, is farther away like this, right? So from your vantage point, these two stars look like they're close together in the sky, right? But they are actually very far away from each other, right? Physically, they're not. There's 20 light years between them almost. But from our line of sight, where you are, where you're watching me, they look like they're close together in the sky. And that's really gives you perspective, right? I mean, this is what gives us perspective on what we're looking at. Castor, Castor and Pollux look close, the Gemini twins, but they're both of the twins are far apart physically. So that's something in the morning sky that for you guys out there, I know you like that. Something fun to see. And why don't we now go back into the evening sky? I've got some really cool things for the evening sky. So we're going to head through the daytime magically, and it'll start getting dark. And there we are. We're in the darkness this week. Very, very cool. First off, you can see, let me see if I'm on September 1st. Pretty good. We're good. Good shape there. And what you can see, of course, we were talking about Jupiter and Saturn. But if we look higher up in the sky, there's another configuration. We talked about this last week. If you saw my show last week, we talked about the summer triangle dominating the overhead skies throughout the northern hemisphere this time of the year. It really is something very dominant. Fantastic to see. Easy even from city limits. You could see here, of course, if you have a darker skies, look at that band of light. Can you see that band of light just going down on the side there, right across diagonally? That's the Milky Way. That's our home galaxy, right? 400 billion stars. Our sun is one of them, and this is our home galaxy. And you're seeing the combined light of millions of stars. They're just all huddled together in clouds of stars. So it's really, it's mind-boggling to see that. Now, the summer triangle is kind of straddles a part of that Milky Way band, very high up in the sky. And part of that, which is really fun, and we talked about, of course, the three stars. The one down near the horizon is Altair. Then you've got Deneb, which marks the Northern Cross, or Cygnus the Swan, the brightest member of that. That's another point of the triangle, of the summer triangle. And then you have the brightest of the trio, Vega. Now, Vega is a cool star. It's got a lot of claim to fame of it being one of the closer stars, 25 light years away. So you're looking back in time, 25 years, when you're looking at Vega. I'm going to zoom through it closer to the constellation. Now, the constellation itself is called Lyra, the harp. You can see the mythological drawing of the musical instrument, the harp here. This is a really beautiful little constellation. It holds a lot of little gems. And some of the really interesting parts to it is one of them is the double-double. And I wanted to talk this very quickly, or this is also known as Epsilon Lyrae. That's the official name of this star. You can see this star there next to it, and it's about 162 light years away. And as its name suggests, double-double, there's something interesting going on. So if we zoom in on the double-double, and we look to it as if we were looking with binoculars. Okay, so a standard pair of binoculars is the view is what you're looking at right now. You can see Vega just underneath, right here. I've got my mouse on it, covering the star. Right, and then right upper left there is the double-double. So this is the view. So you can see what I've done by zooming in using my binoculars. I've actually split that star, Epsilon Lyrae, into two separate stars. And this is what we call a binary star system. There's two, but there's actually more going on here. If now you have a small telescope, there's even more that you can do. There's another surprise there. And by just like the name suggests, double double, there is more to these stars. And you keep zooming in. Look at this. Look at them. They're on either side of the screen. Can you guys see that? There is two stars here. Each of the pair of doubles are double stars themselves. So this is a multiple star system. You can see two stars down here and two stars up here. So the double double. So remember, all of these four stars look like one star to the naked eye, very close to Vega. With binoculars, you separate that one star into two, and with telescopes, each of the pair of stars in that double are doubles themselves. So this is a very, very cool object to be able to see. Here's a photograph as well that's taken. You can see in this photograph the double double. Two down here at the bottom left, and then in the upper right where you see the word double double is also two stars that make up this fantastic system of stars. So this is 162 light years. It's a multiple star system. It's one of the favorite kind of binocular telescopic objects that you can take it to the next level in terms of your night sky watching. And I put that challenge out to you guys, is take your binoculars if you have it and see if you can separate Epsilon Lyrae into the double star. And then if you have a small telescope, point it at it and see if you can separate them into two double stars. That is, I think, is an incredible thing to be able to see. And remember, it's 162 light years away, far away. That's almost double the lifetime, 2 lifetimes away, the light that reaches it. And it's all there next to the bright star Vega, high up in the sky in the evening after darkness falls, very high, almost straight up, is that the brightest member of the summer triangle that you see put out here. So that's something fun to see for binoculars and telescopes. It's the double double in Lyrae. I will have a sky chart for you on my timeline and in the comment section. So something interesting for you guys to see. Sandy, hello from San Antonio. Nice of you to join us. Taras, also, you're most welcome. Melody says the Milky Way is so breathtaking. I know. If you can get out into the countryside, far away as you can get from the city limits, from all the light pollution, and the Milky Way band is absolutely fantastic to see. Now, there's more, guys. What other things can you see? How about an open cluster in the teapot? This is a really, really cool thing. Do you remember we were talking about the teapot? If you were joining me last week, we were talking about the teapot pattern of stars that mark Sagittarius, the constellation Sagittarius. That's low in the horizon for those of you that are in the northern hemisphere, mid-latitude, like I am. I'm 45-degree latitude north of the equator, halfway between the equator and the North Pole. That's where Montreal, Canada sits. That's where I'm speaking to you from. And this is how the skyline is, and how Jupiter and Saturn sit, and how the teapot sits for me here. For you, if you're more southernly latitude, closer to the equator, all of these will be shifted up higher up in your sky. So it'll be even easier for you to see. Those of you who are north of the 45, they're going to say in the Scandinavian countries, Siberia, that area, these objects will be even below the horizon, will be much more difficult to see, if even possible, if you're too far north. And you can find the teapot very easily in the evening sky by looking for Jupiter and Saturn, that brilliant yellow-white pair of stars, which we know are planets, not stars, but they will guide you to Sagittarius and the giant celestial teapot. This is going to be really, really interesting for you guys, because there is a beautiful, let me see if I can get it. Let me see out here, right here, I'm going to mark it, a open cluster just above the teapot. And I'd love for you guys to try to see it. This is an observing challenge going out to you, binoculars and telescopes. is to see if you can spot M23. Messier 23 is a beautiful open cluster. Looks like a fuzzy patch to a pair of binoculars, definitely a little cloud of stars. With a telescope, they look fantastic. And what's neat about it is that it's just above the top, the lid of the teapot. You can see the lid of the teapot, and it's just above. And one really good way is you can actually take the side where the handle of the teapot is and extend an imaginary line along the length of that handle and outwards, maybe about twice the distance of the teapot itself, or at least as wide as the teapot body is itself, and then just move up diagonally with a pair of binoculars. Just sweep with a pair of binoculars, and you'll find this conglomeration of stars. It's 2,000 light years away, and here's a beautiful photograph. Look at this, embedded inside this inside the Milky Way. I mean, the whole thing is embedded inside the Milky Way. I think it's a fantastic looking group of stars that you can see, and it's 2,000 light years away. I think that is just incredible to think that's there. So that's M23, an open cluster, 2,000 light years away, just above the teapot in Sagittarius. Something cool to see. And of course, the full moon. The full moon is happening basically late tonight for those of us in North America. It's actually officially happening Tuesday, September 1st at 1:22 a.m. Eastern time is officially when it is, but it'll look brilliant and full tonight. So if you go outside, look for the full moon. It is just spectacular, rising in the east just after sunset. So check that out. That is really cool to see. And there's one more. I can't believe there's one more thing to watch for. And I'm going to just move ahead to September 4th and 5th. So let me just move here to say I'm going to put later at night. This is something that you want to see late. There's the moon. And look what's next to it is Mars. So September 4th, this is Friday night, September 4th. Look for the moon just beside Mars. So it'll be separated by a healthy distance, but they will be very beautiful together. And then look what happens on Saturday. Let me see if I can just get that going here. Saturday night, late night. This is around midnight where it'll be higher up, so you can watch it all night long. Moon and Mars will appear very close together. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? The moon and Mars. So mark this down. This is Saturday, September 6th, September 5th and 6th. So September 5th, the night, very late night on September 5th into the early morning hours of September 6th is when you will see the moon and Mars together. And this is for your local time. So wherever you are in the world, I am talking about you're looking at late night. We're talking about late night, Saturday night into Sunday. Okay, late night into Saturday into Sunday is when I'm talking about. That's when all this action is happening. That's where the moon will be right beside Mars. And by basically the next night, by Sunday night, the moon will have traveled away from Mars. But really, the most beautiful is going to be Saturday night. Friday night, you'll whet your appetite with the moon closing in on Mars. And then by Saturday night, September 5th, the moon and Mars will appear together in the sky. Absolutely beautiful. And here's Kimberly mentioning to us that Mars has been so bright for my 2 a.m. viewing. Yeah, the later in night you get to stay up, the brighter Mars appears because it's rising higher in your local sky, and you get better and better views. And the views will get better. This is just to whet our appetite because Mars is heading towards opposition, which means Mars will be at its biggest and brightest in Earth skies for the last 2 years. And so that means that with a telescope, you'll see more details on the disk of Mars. So this is going to be something interesting. And here's Betsy says, this will make my 39th wedding anniversary so special. Well, congratulations, Betsy. That's wonderful. And how romantic. How romantic would this be? The moon and Mars, these two beautiful night sky objects there for your wedding night. I'm so happy to hear that. That makes it so much special, so memorable, definitely. And that's absolutely. Teresa's also saying that Uranus is also going to be visible as well. You can see on the sky chart Uranus, and in fact, if that's something of interest, the green giant, ice giant, will be just above the moon on Sunday night. And technically, Uranus is just visible to the naked eye, but you need super dark skies. And with the moon nearby, the glare, it'll make it difficult. So it's really a binocular target because of the moon. The moon will guide you to Uranus. You can sweep with binoculars just above the moon for a distinctly green disk, tiny disk in binoculars and telescopes. That is planet Uranus. So that's an added bonus. There's a lot to see, Katrin. There's quite a lot to experience and to think about. I know, Katrin, there is a lot to see. This week was chock full. I hope you enjoyed this. This was a lot of fun, guys. There is always so much to see in the sky. I'll be reading through your comments. I love all your comments. I can see this really sparked a lot of interest in many of you in planets, star clusters, double stars, the moon pointing the way, acting as a guide. But I'm telling you, there is tons. So this week, as we head into the first week in September, a new month, we're turning a page. Hopefully things are going to get better down here on our little blue marble. Things hopefully won't get, will hopefully will get calmer. I hope you stay safe and healthy wherever you are. Also, of course, if you're interested in astronomy and stargazing, I always heartily recommend my book. That's my, oh yeah, I also have it here. That's right. So that's my book, Backyard Guide to the Night Sky. If you're interested, it's available wherever books are sold. I'm very proud of it. It's out by National Geographic. And it gives you all the basics to the hobby. So everything that I'm teaching you here week to week, there's a lot of that stuff all inside this book. Guides, there's maps in there, tutorials on how to get started with a telescope and binoculars, how to shop for them, how to choose them, what kinds there are. The tools are very important. And also, what are the things that you can see with the naked eye as well? That's so important. Every week you can see there's tons to see. So I hope there's a lot of interesting things there. If you're interested in the book, you can pick it up wherever books are sold online. And with that, I want to thank you very much for spending a few moments of your time. And again, if you like this video and this is something that you enjoyed and you want to see more of, please do like and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss my next video. And please do share as well with your friends and family. We'd like to get more people in our community, right, guys? More people in our wonderful community. You're all my stargazing friends. Thank you so much for supporting me. Lots of love to all of you guys. And I'll be sharing a lot of things underneath here in the coming hours. So thank you so much. Stay safe and healthy wherever you are. And I hope to see you next week. And until then, I wish all of you clear skies. Bye-bye.